قل هل يستوي الذين يعلمون والذين لا يعلمون إنما يتذكر أولو الألباب.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to a new episode of your program, The Life of the Muslim Scholars. And I would like to welcome my guest, Muhammad Mamadou, for being here with me.
Thank you.
And welcome you all, inshallah ta'ala. This will be a very interesting episode because we continue our discussion about the Imam Abdul Rahman al-Awza'i, rahimahullah ta'ala. We said that Imam al-Awza'i was raised by a single mom who took care of him very well from the early time after his dad died when he was 5 years old, all the way until he became a great scholar. It's been said that his mom used to go inside his house in the place where Imam al-Awza'i pray in the night. And if she find the spot cold, she would be worried about, she became blind in the end of her life. She can't see. If she found the spots cold, she would know that her son didn't make Qiyam al-Layl that night. And she will check, is he okay, is he sick, why did he miss it? And if it's warm, she will be happy, say, Alhamdulillah, that my son did Qiyam al-Layl tonight. Yeah.
Sheikh Walid, we can see that you're very enthusiastic about talking about such scholars and their lives. Would you tell us the reason behind that?
I'm always fascinated by the scholars. Their lives. Gonna go a little bit out of the topic, but I really like the life of the scholars. Start exploring their personal life because when I was younger, so I'm still young, alhamdulillah. When I was younger, I read something. One of the scholars was talking about being overweight. It's a sign of hypocrisy. And being skinny, it's a sign of righteousness. So I got offended. I took it personally. Okay. So I start looking into the life of the scholars. I wrote a refutation actually about his claim. And part of it, I mentioned the scholars who were overweight. And I call it لقط العجلان في من ذكر من العلماء بأنه مليان. A collection of those scholars who've been described as overweight. And when I looked at their lives, I wasn't looking for their knowledge, I was looking for their weight. And I collected about 60 or 70 of them. But that led me to discover something I never focused on before, which is their description, their personal life. I saw them not as necessarily now as scholars and their ilm and their fatwas. I looked at them as human beings, how they developed themselves. And that's how it started in a very early age. For me, it was my first year in college, actually. And I really, since then, love to read about the life of the scholars. Let's go back to al-Awza'i, rahimahullah. Al-Awza'i, well respected. When he died, one of the rulers, or the governor of that area came, and he sat next to his grave, and he said, Allah is my witness. I used to fear you more than the Khalifa himself, the one who appointed me. His janazah, his funeral, witnessed by Jewish scholars, Christian scholars, Muslim scholars, witnessed by the Christians, the Jews, and the Muslim of the city. The entire community came out. I was wondering, if one of us now die, would the whole entire community comes out? One of our shuyukh or imams or leaders in our communities, would that happen? It didn't happen from nothing. It didn't happen because he did nothing, because the influence that he had. Like we shared how many times he interceded for the Christians at that time and some of the people of the book in his village or in his city, rahimahullah ta'ala. In 740, Damascus fell apart in the hand of the Abbasi dynasty. And the city was destroyed by the hand of a general. His name, Abdullah ibn Ali. He's a brutal. He killed hundreds of thousands of people. He had no respect for rules. He turned the Umayyads mosque to be a barn, a place where he put his horses in. just because that masjid was built by the Umayyads. He brought not only the Umayyads, he brought the Umayyads, readers and princes and royal family, their wives, their kids, and the judges, the people who work in the palace, all of them. He lined them up and he chopped their heads off. He was brutal, unbelievable. Just reading the story, it's scary. So, and after that, he moved to Hama. And when he reached Hama, he asked, what is Al-Awza'i? Al-Awza'i is one of the most respected scholars during the Umayyads' time. Al-Awza'i at that time was on the run, going west toward the coast, the Mediterranean Sea. 3 days he'd been traveling, fasting, have no food. He went even to one of his people hosted him, and he was fasting, and the time of the food comes. He offered him food, and he told him, I'm sorry, the food is not good. It's not suitable for you, Imam. It's such a cheap food because I'm a poor man. I don't have money. But Imam al-Awza'i didn't touch the food. He said, Wallahi, my job is halal 100%. And I buy this food from halal food money. He said, it's not about that. I don't feel comfortable eating a food. The honor of it, think less of it. A person who's not grateful to Allah for the food that he has, and he looking down upon it. Sorry. So he said to himself, you know, running away is not going to work. It looks like I have to go meet him in Hama. So he decided to go back, and he spent the night in a person by the name of Thawr ibn Yazid. He said in that night, Thawr ibn Yazid was talking the whole night about the issue of Al-Qadar and the predestined. And Imam al-Awza'i doesn't like anyone to speak about theology and stuff like that in a way other than the way of Salaf and the way of Ahl Sunnah. So this man the whole night was talking and debating with his friends. And Imam al-Awza'i said, I didn't say, I was silent the whole night. I didn't say a single word. Prayed Fajr, then I left, heading towards the prince. I approached the prince's house, and I walk into the court where he's sitting, and I found all these bodies all over the place. A head here, a body with a head without head over there, and he's very far away. And I see all the people who used to work for the Umayyads, servants, you name it, ministers, writers, judges, they're all on the ground dead. He said, I was walking over their bodies and, over the blood until I came closer to him. And I said, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. He didn't reply to me. He was holding that prince, Abdullah ibn Ali. He was holding a stick, and he was like moving the sand underneath of him. And he pointed to me, sit over there. And I was surrounded by 4 different types of soldiers. Every one of them has a different type of weapon in his hand. And they are behind him as well. And I was wondering what he wants. Then he said, you are Abdul Rahman ibn Amr al-Awza'i? I said, yes. He said, what do you think of our removing these transgressor dictators from power? Then I said to him, I am a good friend of your brother Dawood ibn Ali. He's a teacher of me. We travel together. He said, answer my question. Don't try to show me that you know my brother. Just answer my question. And he said, I thought at that point that this man wanted to put me in trouble. And I decided to answer him because he said, you know what? It looks like death coming, so let me die upon the truth. And I said to him, I heard Yahya ibn Sa'id said that he heard Muhammad al-Taymi, that he said Alqama, he heard Alqama saying that, lady, he said, Alqama said, I heard Umar ibn Khattab, I heard the Prophet ﷺ saying that deeds are based on intention. That's my answer. So what was your intention basically behind the removing these transgressors from power? Then he said, when I said that, he didn't like my answer. And I saw him moving the sand Yes, with the nerve, well, he's so nervous. And he starts sighing. He was hitting the ground. And he said, what do you think of their wealth? We have taken all their monies. I said, oh my God, this man really wants me to put me in trouble today. And I said to him, if their wealth and their money was haram for them to possess, it's haram for you to take. And if that money was halal for them to possess, it's haram for you to take and to have. He became even more frustrated with my answer. And he started hitting it. And all of a sudden, all the soldiers start, somebody holding the grip of their sword, the sword, and the axe. I said, that's it. My blood will be all over the place right now. Then he looked at me and he said, what about killing them like what I did? What do you think of that? Then I said, that man really want me dead today. And he said, at that moment, I remember, I start thinking about the day when I will be standing before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah will ask me about this particular moment. And I said, I would rather in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be saved than to be saved today in front of that king or that ruler. I would rather to pass in that court than to save myself in this court, in the dunya. And I told him that Dawood ibn Ali, which is his brother, narrated to me, and he mentioned a hadith where the Prophet ﷺ said that you cannot kill a person or a Muslim cannot be killed except for 3 reasons. One of them, the adulterer after marriage, the one who left the religion, and the killer. That will be my answer. Very smart. He narrated to him a hadith that narrated by his brother. Then he said to him after that, what do you think of what we do of removing them? Isn't our right to remove them from power? He said, why it is your right? He said, isn't the Prophet ﷺ told Ali to be the Khalifa and appointed Ali to be the Khalifa? He said, no. If this is the case, why Ali would agree to go to arbitrators when he had the debate with Muawiyah? If he was appointed by the Prophet ﷺ, Ali cannot go to arbitrator, because if it's an order from the Prophet, Ali cannot give it up. So that means Ali understood different than, and Ali ibn Abi Talib, that we're your great-grandfather. That's what you guys claim, that you carry his legacy. And he became more frustrated with him and became very, very angry. And he said, he just kept quiet. He said, you want to leave? I said, I have daughters and wife waiting for me, worry about me. Nobody else take care of them except me. He said, I see. And he kept quiet for a while. Then I told him, can I go to the bathroom? He said, you're done, you can go. He said that, I started running. I was running outside. And after I went a little bit far away from the palace, I saw these 2 horsemen following me. Wait, ya Awza'i. I said, that's it. He changed his mind. I said, let me pray. Allahu Akbar. I looked the direction I prayed. I said, let them kill me while I'm praying. Then one of them said, what are you doing? He said, take this. The prince sending you this. And he gave him a money. He said, I finished my salah, I took the money, and I left, even though I didn't take money from rulers, but I just don't want to go back to him or to deal with him anymore. What a story. And there is so many details, I left it because of the time, but I think there is so much we can learn from this man's life. When we come back, inshallah, from the break, we will have much to discuss about this man's life. Looking forward to do so stay tuned.
إنما يخشى الله من عباده العلماء إنما يخشى الله من عباده العلماء.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to your program, The Life of the Muslim Scholars. We talked about the Imam al-Awza'i rahimahullah's life, and it's filled with stories, with lessons that we can relate to it today. So let's explore together some of the lessons that we can learn from Imam al-Awza'i's life. I want to start with something, it's small, but it means a lot to me personally, because alhamdulillah, Allah blessed me with children that I love so much. You know when he said that I still remember my father playing with me in the square of Al-Awza' when I was young.
Yes.
What I want to say to every father and mother out there, you know, your children will have memory of these special moments that you spend with them. You know, maybe you go witness your son's basketball game, or maybe you go to their soccer training, or maybe you were there in their graduation party, or maybe you took them in a trip. You know, sometimes what I do with my kids, I take like my boys and I said, hey, this weekend we're going to go in a hotel and we're going to spend the weekend together. It's Baba Boys Day weekend.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do that with the girls. It's the girls, Baba's Girls Day. And sometimes I take my little girls. I said, hey, I want to have you for a date tonight. And we go to a first class restaurants and we will, you know, eat together or eat sushis, or maybe something she never tried before. And I go to try it together, me and her. Because I know that these things are the thing will be remembered way after my death, inshallah ta'ala. These things will be imprinted in the memory of your children. So make sure that you have a lot of them. So you remember, you know, you will be remembered long after, inshallah, you passed away, or even if you're still alive. I think that makes a lot of difference in the children's life. So that's something maybe we can relate to it today.
Yeah, of course. I would like take what you said, Sheikh Walid, as a kind of a start to the point I just was about to discuss, which is like bringing up the children in a very good way at a very young age. Like when we talk about like Imam al-Awza'i, at a very young age he became an orphan, and this was a kind of something hard for him. But just let's see the mother and the role she's taken, and she became like a kind of a support for him. Like he became like a great scholar.
She was.
Yes, and actually what we're talking here about like investing in people, not in buildings. And actually like when we bring like a very good child.
This is 2 points.
Yeah.
Just let me first make the first one, which is single mom, you still can do great job.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know, it's tough for single mom to survive. But you know what? Great. She used to work. She used to work hard. She traveled from one place to another to take care of her children.
Of course.
And we should really appreciate that as society. If we see a single mother in our community, in our society, we should support her like that man did. We as a masjid, as an organization, as a community, as a society, we should take care of these single moms.
Yeah.
We should even work in making sure to legislate laws that will support single moms. Because can you imagine how hard it is for her to work and to put in a baby sitting and providing all this? This is not easy. And in so many countries, this is a very hard for mothers, especially if they don't have a good social structure in the society or help from the government. So that's something very good. The other one is the investing in people. You see, this man invested in Al-Awza'i rahimahullah. So many times the community invests so much money in buildings. You know, build masjid, big organization, but they don't invest so much money in educating members of their community, or sending them to learn, or maybe taking courses, or graduate, or continuing their education. We don't spend and invest on people as much as we invest in buildings and accumulated dust, in my opinion. So this is very, very important lessons for us to learn. Very good. Excellent. Something else?
I think that's something that's really stuck with me, is this aspect of leaving a legacy. So for example, if you count the history of humanity, how many people have just come and died? And we don't know their name, and we'll never know their name. And after time, people will have vanished for the memories of people.
You know, Muhammad, there is people still alive and forgotten.
Exactly, subhanAllah. And look
They're alive, and people don't care for them.
Exactly. Look at someone like Al-Awza'i, for example, who died 1,200 years ago, 1,100 years ago. We know his name. We study his opinions. We aspire to be like him. We've never seen him, but we find a role model in him. And I find that so amazing.
So we should think as a community, as a society, as an organization, we should think that way.
Yeah.
That we want to keep our legacy alive
Yeah.
after our death for a long time to come. Very good. One of the things that I really found it also very interesting, even though there is a civil war and the fall of one dynasty and the rise of another, but you still see the ulama did not stop giving da'wah, did not stop giving classes, did not stop teaching in the masajid, they did not stop writing books. Sometimes because of the political problems that happen in a community or because of the election season, you see the whole entire class, the whole entire student of knowledge start focusing on politics. And the da'wah is dead. Nobody take care of the da'wah. Not because of there is a problem or an issue, political instability or unrest. It means we forgot our role as du'at, as a teachers, our responsibility toward this generation. You see this clearly in his life, and that's a lesson we should learn, in my
I
opinion.
did have a question, Sheikh. I was just wondering, so you said Imam Al-Awza'i was amongst the legends of Malik, Layth ibn Sa'ad, and all the great ulama of our past. So how come his madhab hasn't reached us today?
His madhab survived for about 200 years, 220 years, but it didn't survive later on because his madhab basically was observed completely by Imam Shafi'i's madhab. So all opinions of his became like Shafi'i's opinion. And Shafi'i rahimahullah became a greater scholar later on. Most of the students of Imam Al-Awza'i turned to a Shafi'i and they left Al-Awza'i's madhab. Also, a lot of the rulers who used to support his madhab, they start supporting Maliki's madhab or Shafi'i's madhab. The madhab always supported by businessmen and rulers. If you have the money of the power of the government, it will survive. And that's the reason these four madhab, Shafi'i, Maliki, Hanbali, and Hanafi became famous because of the great knowledge that they have. But also there's other people who have great knowledge as well. But these guys got, and these four madhab got a lot of support from government and from business, wealthy people.
Yeah.
Build schools, sponsor students, printed they print books, give money to travel with their teaching and so forth. So that's something didn't happen to Imam Al-Awza'i after he died. Something else you want to share, Muhammad?
Yeah, I want to say, like, I was very astonished by the story about Al-Imam Malik when he went out to meet Al-Imam Al-Awza'i, which means, like, for me, as a kind of a base, like a bottom line for everything, people will respect you for your knowledge. It's not about your appearance, it's not about your money, everything. Knowledge is the best thing you ever got.
And also it's important for the du'at to respect one another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes I travel to a city and I didn't get the chance to meet my friends in that city. Or somebody come to my city. I should go and meet them and welcome them and support them. We should have that kind of relationship with each other. Get each other's back.
Yeah.
And that's very important message to send to the students and to the public.
Yeah.
One of the lessons that I can say as well about this man, when he spent that night and the guy was talking about the qadr, he didn't pick a debate because the time is not about these issues.
Yeah.
We have to pick the right time to talk about the right topics. Sometimes the ummah and the need, there is bigger issue the ummah needs to deal with.
Yeah.
We don't need to go into an issues that is not relevant to the time. And that's a very interesting lesson for us to learn today. Yes.
Another thing you said which really stood out for me was, for example, you said that he stood up for the rights of minorities. And I thought that's so important for us, where even though in many Muslim countries, in many Western countries, we are the minorities, but we should be siding with other minorities and we should stand up for their rights.
Very good. Absolutely. That's absolutely correct. And also the interacting between Muslim and non-Muslims.
Yeah.
When you read the stories of some scholars that they have students and people attend their classes not Muslim. I used to have a class about Allah's names and attributes, and we have a Methodist church next to us. Their priest and youth minister used to attend my class. Wow. And he really loved the concept of Allah's names and attributes. And we have a lot of dialogues and work together. We work a lot of programs together. And that's important. Interfaith work is very important for us as a community to open up to other faith community and to strengthen the relationship. One of the things also I would like to say that Qatada wrote to him and he said, even though we live far away from each other and I cannot be there to support you and we didn't meet each other, but I want you to know that the tie between us as Muslims, as a people of Sunnah, it is much stronger than being from the same neighborhood or they're living in the same place. This is a great lesson because many times I need the support from my brothers and from the other du'a. Maybe somebody in trouble, somebody going through a hard time. We should reach out to them, send them letter, email, text messages, phone call, and said, hey, I know you're going through a hard time, and I'm with you. I'm supporting, I'm making du'a for you. Even if you can't offer much physical help or material help, at least that words, it give a strength to your brother. Yes.
As a matter of fact, like what I see, like from Imam al-Awza'i to be like 25 years old and making fatwa or
Live this Imam, but I hope we learn something from his
sure,
life.
definitely.
A lot of things, I guess, from his life.
Alhamdulillah.
Looking forward to meet you to speak about the new scholars, inshallah ta'ala, in the following episodes. With this, I would like to thank you for listening and tuning in, and I would like to thank my guests and thank all the brothers here in the studio. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is your brother Walid Basyoun.
قل هل يستوي الذين